Good morning, my friends. How are you? Welcome to another Behind the Mic with me, Mike Avery, here in the Outdoor Magazine radio studio. Here to record this week's Outdoor Magazine radio show. I will tell you who's coming up on that show in just a few minutes. But first of all, glad to have you along with us on what looks like it's going to be another beautiful day here in my part of Michigan. How is it looking where you are? Pretty good weather across the state. I am continually reminded that what we see downstate. Good morning, Craig. Good morning, John. Good morning, Tommy. I'm reminded that what we see downstate is not what our friends with the UP are dealing with. I posted, good morning, Dan. I posted a picture of morel mushrooms last week. Jerry, good morning. Brad, good morning. Debbie, good morning. Last week, and somebody in return posted pictures of snow drifts and snow covered land in the Yup. Speaking of the Yup, there's Johnny Bowler right there. Johnny, do you still have snow? Ricky, good morning. Brian, nice to have you along with us as always. Mad Jack over on YouTube. Mad Jack, thanks for joining us. Raymond, always a pleasure. And there's Lori Card. Good morning, Lori. How are you? Robert, thanks for joining us. Johnny, do you have snow? I'm waiting to see if Johnny Bowler has snow in the Yup right now still. I know they don't have snow in Indiana. Paul, good morning. 52 here with snow still on the ground, Johnny says. Snowed in Haute Lake last weekend. Randy, it is a beautiful morning, isn't it? Josh Mapes, how are you? It's a beautiful morning. I stopped on the way down to the studio this morning, drove by my turkey hunting property, and there was a big bird walking the wood line, the edge of the woods, right where I put my blinds. So that's a good sign. Good morning, Mike. Kevin collecting all of his Canadian flying stuff, going in last of May, first week of June. I will be in Ontario first week of June myself. I'll be up there doing a bear hunt. Mark brought all the weather back. We appreciate that, Mark. Thank you. Davina, good morning. Kevin says, beautiful morning in Gladwin. Paul, good morning. How are you? Looks like it's a beautiful morning across most of the great state of Michigan. My name is Mike Avery. This is Behind the Mic. Hey, Angie, how are you? Paul, good morning. Angie of Pizza Sam's fame in Midland. If you have not eaten at Pizza Sam's, you need to eat at Pizza Sam's. Brian had a hen turkey fly across the road in front of him in Pontiac this morning. It's getting to be that time of year. Turkey season, my season, starts next Saturday. Not this Saturday, but next Saturday. And I will be good to go. Looks like the weather's going to be good to go here for the next several days and a little bit of a cool down next week, but I think we've made it past the hump. Randy, what are you doing in Delaware? Not that that's a bad place to be, but what are you doing in Delaware, Randy? Anyway, this is Behind the Mic. Me, Mike Avery, here in the Outdoor Magazine radio studio to record this week's show. This is my official social media microphone, and this is my official broadcast microphone. People say, why do you have two microphones? That's why. What's regulation on spring turkey? Is it Tom's only? Yes. Davina, in the spring, it's bearded birds. It could be a bearded hen. Bearded birds only in the spring, and then in the fall, you can take either sex bird. So you can take a longbeard, a jake, or a hen in the fall. But in the springtime, it's a bearded bird only. Hey, Craig, look what I got here. This is like, of all the mugs and stuff I have, this one's my favorite because it's got a handle on it. And this is courtesy of my buddy, Craig Plowman. Morning, Ashley. How are you? Paul said hen turkey roosted behind the house over the creek the last 2 evenings. Just one bird, Paul? It's unusual to have just one bird roosting. One hen turkey roosted behind Paul's house over the creek the last 2 evenings. Greg Abbas, he's looking great. Greg Abbas, turkey hunting expert, says he always looks for birds roosting along the water, creeks. But I've never seen a bird roost along a creek, but I've never hunted near a creek either. I know it's creek. I know it's a creek or a stream, but I say crick. Randy says his son lives here and is a brewer for Dogfish Brewing. Excellent. We'll have a nice visit with your son. Mark, it's interesting you mentioned Bill Piles. I talked with him yesterday as well. He's on the show this week. And by the way, our October hunt is now filled up, but Bill's going to join us here. It is a great time of year. How was my Easter? My Easter was wonderful. You got a limit of walleye on the river. Fantastic. Bernie, just a tad late. Not too much. You didn't miss anything. Hope you're feeling fine. Good. Well. Recovering, recouping. Rick, how are you? Wayne checking in from Las Vegas. How are things in Sin City? I feel like when Jesus comes back, he's hitting Vegas first. And maybe New Orleans. John says 167 days till the first day of the Ohio hunt. But who's counting? Hey, John? Yeah, I'm looking forward to that hunt as well. But I got a couple of hunts ahead of time. My springtime turkey hunt here in Michigan. And it's changing, Wayne said. It's changing. I'm glad to hear that. 187. Oh, by the way, John, you didn't congratulate me on my new buzzer record from last weekend. I thought somebody would bring that up, saying congrats, Avery, on the new world record on the buzzer. Corey says Detroit River is on fire. They're getting some big fish out of the Saginaw River, too. John says the coffee is hot. Mine is lukewarm because I put it in here about 3 hours ago at this point. I'm surprised it's not gone yet. 3 hours? Yeah, at least 3 hours ago. Yeah, John, I look forward to seeing you and your dad down there on our Ohio hunt. I'll be using my new 10-point crossbow. I'll be using that on my Michigan turkey hunt as well. Well, thank you. There we go. Congrats. Thank you, Jody. I appreciate that so much. Rachel, good morning. How are you? Julie, Brian, appreciate you folks being along with us on this edition of Behind the Mic. A couple of things. Weather across the state now is pretty nice. Fishing is on fire across the state for silverfish and goldfish. Do you know what that means when I say silver and gold? Silver is salmon, gold is walleye. There's Matt right there. There's Rachel's husband. Matt says, Mike, what day is it? Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. It's Wednesday. Do you know what Wednesday means, don't you? Well, it means Behind the Mic. It means the radio show. It means Wednesday Night Live. Wednesday also means it's hump day. Rob says there's still snow in White River. It is a beautiful day, isn't it? River was muddy. Probably still muddy right now. Rob, I'll see you in a couple months. Even less than that, I think. Okay, so what's on my list here? Oh, I told you I was I haven't seen many birds at my number one turkey hunting property, and I was starting to get a little bit concerned. But then on our deer hunting property, one of the cameras showed a big tom. So I texted Gene, our friend and landowner out there, said, can I turkey hunt your property if I have to? He said, absolutely. And he said, there's some big birds wandering around. So this morning on the way into the studio, I drove by my number one spot, which is about 1.5 miles from the house. And I wanted to see if there was any birds gobbling back at the property edge, back in the woods. So as I'm driving down the 2-track to get back there, I stop and there's a longbeard walking the edge of the woods right in front of me. So I just backed out of there and let him go. So that's a good sign. And that was 6:45 this morning. He was walking along the edge of the woodlot where I put my blind every year. So that's a good sign. Davina says it means Thursday you have a hunter safety class. Excellent. There's a lot of eagles along the Saginaw River now. Very, very cool. Rob says spring's not up there yet. No robins or dead skunks yet. Oh, it's in full bloom down here. Oh, don't forget to get your new fishing license if you're here in Michigan. In fact, those went into effect April 1st. You needed a new fishing license. I think they are a very good deal, but that's just me. I have not been well, other than a day on the Saginaw River. I haven't been out on the bay yet. I don't have the new Angler Quest yet, and that's fine because I'm not quite ready for it anyway. Because I'll be turkey hunting and trying to get some projects done around the house. So when the Davina and Hannah are students, Paul is an instructor. Excellent, that'll be fun. John says, "Thanks for the reminder." You're welcome, John. You can get those online, by the way, Michigan.gov/DNR. And get your license right online and print it out. I mean, it's so easy. You don't even have to go into a store or a bait shop anymore to get your license. Go to Michigan.gov/DNR, get your license online, print it right there at home. I actually, for the first year, laminated mine. I never have in the past. You know why? Or John says, or buy them from the app. You know why I've never worried about it before? Because there's ants all over the place in here. These little sweet ants everywhere. Because if a game warden stops you and you don't have your license, he can look it up anyway. Oh, Dan says ORV stickers as well. Thank you, Dan. That's not on my radar because I don't have an ORV, but thank you. Although I am fascinated by the side-by-sides. 2 years ago when I was up hunting with Johnny Bowler up in the Newberry-Seney area, and those things were everywhere, I thought, they look like a lot of fun. Can I tell you who's on the Outdoor Magazine radio show this week? Because after all, that's why I'm in here. That's why I'm not home. That's why I'm here in the studio. Am I eating in the studio? No, I got nothing in here. Well, I did have a yogurt, but I just opened it. Gina Cannell of Jay's Sporting Goods talks about turkey guns, 410s as a turkey gun, patterning your turkey gun, and guns in general. Then Bill Piles of Ohio Bow Hunting Outfitters says now is the time if you want to hunt with him this fall for whitetails in central Ohio. He's got a couple of openings left. Now is the time to get in on that. In hour number 2, Rich Krazan of Killer Food Plots. It's food plot planting season here in the South, or at least time to get real serious about it. Rich Krazan of Killer Food Plots will join us to talk about that. Rich, of course, now owner of the company after Nick Percy passed. His good friend Rich Krazan bought the company, was able to keep control of it, and I think that's wonderful. Then Kristen Lesage of the DNR talking about those new fishing licenses. In our Ask Avery segment this week, a guy named Cliff Moran sent me an email. He said, asking for a friend. He says, now that recreational marijuana use is legal in Michigan, how does that affect your ability to renew your CPL or get a suppressor? Interesting question. Pot is legal in Michigan. How does that affect your ability to renew your CPL or get a suppressor? I won't go into much detail, but say that's the same reason why I can't have any marijuana in my system as a licensed charter captain. And then in our third hour, we're talking with Brad Smith, talking about fishing in the Detroit metro area, Detroit Outdoor Adventures, his website, I Fish Detroit. I wanted to get somebody on the show this week to talk about fishing in the North Country. It is a great question, isn't it, Mark? I mean, when you think about it, you can figure it out, but it is a great question and one that I'm really glad that he brought up. And I do have a couple of people on the show next week to talk about fishing in the North Country. In fact, let me make myself a note. I just thought of somebody else. I try to keep the show what is his name? Okay. Good morning, Kim. How are you? Jake, good morning. How are you? Mark, I look forward to seeing you in Ohio. We're going to have a lot of fun this. Oh, here, Mark, here's something interesting. You know, my son James is coming down with me. Bill was very generous, and he gave us a trip, a hunt to give away at our Trinity Monitor Wild Game Dinner and Auction about a month ago now, 5 weeks ago now. My daughter-in-law bought that trip, and she gave it to my grandson. So this year in Ohio, it's going to be me, my son James, and my grandson Trent, all hunting with Bill that same week. That's going to be a lot of fun. A lot of fun. Good morning, Roger. How are you? Jen, always a pleasure, dear. It was so nice to see you and Tim and your son at the Lumberjack restaurant in West Branch for our Wednesday night live. Emil Rousseau of the Lumberjack wants to do another one in September. HHD. Morning, Mike. HHD. How are you doing? HHD. What is HHD? Happy Hump Day. Happy Hump Day. Hey, Jim. Good morning, Cap. Right back at you. How are you? Happy Hump Day. Oh, I don't know how I'm so dense on some of these. Yeah, it's Wednesday. Mike, what day is it? It's Hump Day. Haven't done those for a while. Just felt the need to get that out. Happy Hump Day. Well, that's who said that first. It's Hump Day. You heard that, right, Charlie?
I did.
Yeah. Couldn't miss it. Danny, good morning. How are you? Appreciate you joining me on this edition of Behind the Mic. I've told you who's on the Outdoor Magazine radio show this week. Oh, also, it could be the weather, Davina. It could be the weather. After we record this week's Outdoor Magazine radio show, we're going to do an Angler Quest podcast talking with a charter captain out west. I always love getting the input and the perspective of captains from other states. His name is, I got it. We got a dynamic duo in the studio this morning. His name is Jason Feldner, and we'll talk to him about how he uses his Angler Quest. Stu says nothing like hunting with a family. Absolutely, Ed. Good morning, Ed. I look forward to seeing you in Ohio. I'll see you before then because I owe you a couple of fishing trip and a river cruise. Lori said I had my mom join me live at Lumberjack. She enjoyed herself and wants to attend again. Wonderful. Mad Jack, I missed the Wednesday night live. What was your new record buzzer? John, it was 40 seconds and what? Rick says he's catching up on the radio show this morning, courtesy of the podcast. John Bergsma, let's go fishing, Mike. Hey, John, good morning. How are you? John, a very well-known name here in the Great Lakes. In fact, John was on an Angler Quest podcast with me recently, and we'll do another one again. Good question, Mike. Any reports of smelt running? Haven't heard anything. Doesn't mean that's not the case. Ed says, any word on your boat? Planning on hitting the bay very soon. Yeah, I talked to Mr. Angler Quest himself, Brad Dupuis, last week, and we're making sure that my boat has the new tubes, the new tunes, the new bigger. It was a 41.4 seconds is a new record buzzer. Thicker tubes and 3 sealed chambers in each tube, according to as the radio spot goes, for added safety. Also, we were going to put a new 300 horse Mercury outboard on it, and Brad says, rather than just have you waste time breaking that motor in, he said, what about if you take the 300 horse Merc we had on your other one and put on this one? It'll save you time. I said, that's perfect, Brad, because I had like 120 hours on it. It's perfect. It's broken in. It's a brand new motor. So yes, we can do that. And as I told you before, he was going to make a cosmetic change at the back of the boat because I need that Angler Quest graphic there for my pictures and video purposes. So, well, thank you, Mad Jack. Greg's working in the yard today. So anyway, that's the status of the Angler Quest. And I told him, I said, I don't need it for a couple of weeks anyway, because next couple of well, starting next weekend, I'll be turkey hunting, and I want to get that out of the way. I don't mean I want to get it out of the way. I love turkey hunting. What else? What else? What else? How much time, guys? A minute, 2 minutes, 3 minutes? What? What do you think?
I don't know. I didn't look yet.
Okay.
3 minutes.
3 minutes.
Yes.
I also can feel the heat going on here. If you want to knock that thermostat down 1 degree, that'd be okay. It's like getting toasty in here already. I have a lot of hot air in here. Yeah. Oh, I'm still working on being able to do live streams here through Instagram. It's an interesting thing with Instagram. I was trying to get verified. I'm verified. I've been verified on Facebook for years. Facebook and Instagram are now picking up some smelt in Port Huron in the St. Clair River. Is it time to put the goose fence up? Oh, Cliff, by the way, I have an answer to your Ask the Avery question. It will be answered in the last segment of hour 2 of this week's radio show. It's a great question. We're going to answer it this week. I can't talk too much about it, but I found another method of deterring the geese. And I have them convinced for now to avoid our yard. So I don't doubt that soon it will be time to put up the goose fence, but as of right now, the goose fence is not up. And the geese have been convinced to kind of leave us alone for now. I know they're coming back. What else? I was making some goals for this summer's fishing season. Number one is to get all the trips that I've committed to done. Fishing trips and river cruises. I overextended myself this year. Plus, I had a couple to make up for from last year. So I'll get them done, but it's going to be a busy summer. I want to get better at being a Saginaw Bay walleye trolling angler. And I've been doing it for 30 years, but I want to get better at it. I want to experiment with side scan. I want to be able to figure out side scan because I really believe that's a tool that I'm not taking advantage of. You know, looking out to the side and seeing where the fish are. Well, that's an option, Ed. Do you know where I can get one? And I want to play around with some deeper water. You know me, I could spend all summer fishing in 1 minute, fishing in 10 feet of water or less and be completely happy. But when that goes dry, I need to be able to go deeper. So I want to mess around with that a little bit. Okay, I've got about 50 seconds here now before I have to start the Outdoor Magazine radio show. When I do that, I will change the focus of what I'm doing. I'll change from this microphone to this microphone. Morning, Doug. How are you? So if you ask me a question or talk to me, 30 seconds, I won't be able to directly respond as I have been, directly interact as we have been. It's not because I'm being rude, although I often am rude. It's because I have to do the radio show. Also, if you hear me talk about some of the same topics, just know that I'm talking to a different. These guys are serious. They're actually going to start this show. One, blast off. Negative.
No, we got it. I just don't have the right mic.
Oh,
There you go.
there we go.
Sorry, I was listening to our radio station.
Right now, there is no other radio station, Charlie. There is nothing else in the world right now. All right, my friends, I got to go to work here. Have a beautiful day. Enjoy the weather. It's going to be nice. I will be back here tonight at 7 o'clock for another edition of Wednesday Night Live. We may kick off Wednesday After Live tonight because it's going to be warm and it's going to be light out. So we might kick off Wednesday After Live tonight after Wednesday Night Live. That's at 7 o'clock. All right, my friends, have a great day. We'll talk to you tonight. Well, thank you, Ken Hunter, for that introduction, and welcome to another edition of the Outdoor Magazine radio show here on the Outdoor Magazine Radio Network on more than 30 radio stations across the great state of Michigan, and glad to be back with you, continuing our weekly 3-hour conversation about the great outdoors here in the great state of Michigan, the history and tradition of hunting and fishing and shooting and trapping and conservation issues and wildlife issues and wild game cooking and all things right, all things positive, all things biologically sound and biologically necessary here in the outdoor world, right here in our own great state of Michigan. And as I am in the studio right now, it is an absolutely beautiful day out. I know I always get myself into trouble. In fact, last week, I posted a picture online of what the first morels of the season. And this was in Oakland County, and it was, early in the month. And I posted this picture, and I had a segment last week on the radio show about, hey, it's time to start looking for morels in the southern part of the state. Well, one of my buddies from the UP said, "Hey, Avery, not really morel season up here yet." And he sent me a picture of his front yard, and there was 2 feet of snow on the ground and 4-foot snow drifts, snow piles at the end of his driveway. I hear you. And that's one of the challenges of working with such a geographically diverse state. It's wonderful. It's wonderful that our state is so big and covers so many different areas, so many different types of habitat, and even different climates during these shoulder months, the spring and summer months. So I hear you. I will keep that in mind. But right now, outside the studio, it is an absolutely gorgeous day. And it looks like it's going to be for the next few days at least. Fishing across our state right now is on fire, both for silverfish and for goldfish. Do you know what I mean when I say silver and gold? No, I don't mean Burl Ives' old song, Silver and Gold. I mean silverfish, salmon, and gold-colored fish, walleye. Steelhead fishing has been very good on our Michigan steelhead rivers. Early season trolling on the west side of the state is off to a good start. Often in Michigan, we think about going west for silverfish and going east for gold-colored fish. And I think that makes a lot of sense because you look at Lake Erie, the Detroit River, Lake St. Clair, and Saginaw Bay. They're all on the east side of the state. So you do traditionally go east for gold. But the fishing's on fire. I'm seeing lots of pictures of big, beautiful fish. None that I have caught. I haven't been on the water for several weeks, a few weeks now. Last time I was out was with Nick Grillo of Michigan Brand Meats on the Saginaw River. Haven't been fishing since. Actually, what I'm trying to do is get several projects done around the house and maybe get a little bit ahead of things. So when the turkey season kicks off and my springtime fishing season kicks off in full, I'll be ready to go. I will be ready to go. I have some goals for my fishing season this year. Number one, I want to get all the trips and the fishing trips and river cruises I have committed to. I need to get those done. I did overextend myself this summer, but they were all for good causes. They all made money for charities that I am involved in and really think the world of. And I got a little overzealous. I saw these trips going for a good price. Yeah, I'll give you a second one. Yeah, we can do another one. Well, that's all well and good till I look at my calendar for the summertime. It's like, man, I might have to be actually like a full-time charter captain this summer and still try to do my regular job. That's a good problem to have, isn't it? I also want to get better at big water trolling for walleye. Now, I've been doing it 30, 35 years. You'd think I'd have a pretty good handle on it by now. And there are days when I can catch my fair share of fish, but there are other days where I feel like I've never done it before. And it had me banging my head against the side of the Angler Quest trying to figure out what's going on. I can usually figure things out and get some fish, but I want to try to get to the point, and maybe I never will, right? Maybe I never will. Maybe I'm just wired differently than some of these people like a Mark Romanek or a Lance Valentine. When they hit the water, they're looking at it from a different perspective than I am. They're looking at it from a far more detail-oriented. They're more in-depth. They're trying to think, I hate to put it this way, but they're trying to think like a fish. When I go out there, I'm like, okay, where did I get fish yesterday? I'll go to the same spot. I'll put the same baits out and light up a cigar and have a good day on the water. So I want to try to put myself in a little bit, maybe more a different mindset. a more productive mindset. Maybe I have fun. I have as much fun as anybody. And I think the crews who go out with me have fun. At least they tell me they do. I also want to spend more time trying to figure out side scan. Now, I don't have the forward looking sonar on my Angler Quest, but I do have side scan. And I run it. I run it almost every time I'm out there, but I don't spend a lot of time looking at it and trying to figure it out. It seems to me, I'm pun intended, missing the boat here by not being better at using my side scan. You know, if you can look out to the boat, 50 feet, 80 feet, 100 feet to the sides of the boat, both sides, and see fish, you know, that would tell me a lot, but I tend not to do it. And I also, once again, want to experiment with going out to deeper water. Now, I am a skinny water rat. I love skinny water. And I say skinny water rat, like river rat. I use that in a good way. I love skinny water. If I could fish the entire summer in 10 feet of water or less, I would do it. Because it's easy to find the fish in there. You know where they're going to be. They're going to be in that 10 feet of water. When they're in there shallow, they're in there for a reason. They're in there feeding. So if there are fish in the skinny water, they're easy to catch. And it's a good day of fishing. I mean, you can put your baits so close to your offshore boards that you can net fish with the board still on the line. That's how tight and skinny and shallow you can fish. But when they're not there, they're not there. And you got to go looking for them. So I need to get a little better with going out deep. My first goal right now, though, is the Michigan turkey season. My season starts next Saturday, the 22nd. I have ZZ, the Southern Michigan Private Land season. That's from the 22nd of April right on through the mosquito season, the month of May. But as much as I love turkey hunting, I don't want to be turkey hunting at the end of May. By then, I want to be fishing and getting ready for my Ontario bear hunt. I was getting a little bit concerned. My number one property, which is very close to the house, a farm that my buddy Doug owns and graciously allows me to hunt there, I haven't been seeing any birds. I've seen big flocks of birds near there, but I haven't been seeing any birds on that farm at all. And I was getting concerned. So this morning on the way into the studio, I drove over to the farm early and I was going to be lazy. I wasn't even going to get out of the truck. I was going to drive the 2-track back to the edge of the woods and just sit there for a few minutes and see if I could hear any birds gobbling. Because if there's birds gobbling, okay, I know they're there and I'm good to go. As I'm halfway down the 2-track, I got both windows open. I'm just getting ready to slow down and stop. And in front of me, I see a longbeard come walking across the edge of the woods. Right between the spot where I put my blinds, one of 2 blinds. So I thought, okay, that helps. Now, in the meantime, I thought, I need to have a backup spot here. So my son James was saying, hey, have you checked the trail cameras on our lease property? We lease some property as a family for deer hunting. And I said, I haven't. He said, you need to check them. And I checked the trail cam pictures and there's this bird walking through one of the food plots. He's got a beard on him like a paintbrush. He's a huge bird. When I saw that, I texted Gene, our friend who has the lease property. I said, would you mind if I turkey hunt out there this spring? He said, no. Come on. Go ahead. Come on out. He said, we got quite a few birds, including a couple of longbeards. I thought, okay. So now I got 2 spots. And if I need it, I got more, but I got 2 spots where I know there are birds. So I'm getting excited. I will go out this week and just fine-tune that new 10-point crossbow I got. I'll take that out and make sure I'm good to go. I'm quite sure I am, but I'll make sure I got some new shooting sticks with a bog. I don't know how to say this. Bog pod head on them. You'll know what that means if you're a shooter, which allows me to keep the bow or gun set up in front of me on the shooting sticks so I don't have the extra motion, the extra movement of picking it up off the ground and putting it on the shooting sticks. That'll help. So I'm pretty excited about that. Speaking of turkey season, coming up after the break here, Gina Cannell of Jay's Sporting Goods talks about turkey guns. What do we need for turkey hunting? Can we do it with a 410? Bill Piles of Ohio Bow Hunting Outfitters joins me at the end of the hour. If you want to hunt Ohio with him this year, you better hurry up. Our October hunt is full, but he has a few more openings yet. In hour number 2, we're talking food plots with Rich Krazan of Michigan-based Killer Food Plots. Then Christian Lesage of the DNR reminds us it's time to get your new fishing license. And we have a very interesting Ask Avery question this week, talking about guns and marijuana. What's legal now? How does that affect things? Now, Dark Charlie, don't give me that look. And in our third hour, we're fishing Southeast Michigan with Brad Smith, and we wrap it all up with wild game chef extraordinaire Dixie Dave Miner. That's coming up this week right here on Outdoor Magazine. It'll make sense, Charlie, when you hear it. Wow. All right, my friends, have a good day. We'll see you tonight, 7 o'clock, for another edition of Wednesday Night Live.